At the foot of the silent hills lay a small village, known for its peculiarities. None of the locals could explain why a sinister silence always reigned there. Even birds and animals seemed to avoid this place. Yet, within this silence lay a mystery that no one dared to uncover. The story began when a strange man named Anton arrived in the village. He was an archaeologist, a seeker of antiquities, and had come to explore the ruins of an old monastery rumored to be buried somewhere beneath these hills. Since childhood, Anton had been fascinated by ancient legends and myths, and upon learning of this place, he couldn't resist the temptation to discover what had happened here. The villagers were displeased with his arrival. They had always been wary of outsiders, especially those who tried to dig into their past. Anton had heard that they avoided talking about the monastery, but this only fueled his interest. Each time he asked questions, they responded with uneasy silence. But one day, an old man, noticing Anton's persistence, decided to tell him an ancient legend associated with the Silent Hills. The old man, sitting on the porch of his house, began to tell the story. According to him, the monastery was built many centuries ago by monks who swore to protect an ancient relic. It was said that this relic possessed great power, capable of bestowing blessings or bringing destruction. For centuries, the monks guarded it within the walls of the monastery, keeping it from the hands of those who sought to claim it. But one day, mysterious visitors arrived at the monastery, bringing with them evil. The monks vanished without a trace, and the monastery was destroyed and buried beneath the earth. Since then, no one knew where the relic was, but rumors suggested that it was still hidden beneath the hills. Anton was captivated by this story. He felt that this was his purpose in life, to find the relic and uncover the mystery of the Silent Hills. The next day, he gathered all the necessary tools and set off for the hills. Soon he found old stone fragments that could have been part of the monastery. This confirmed his suspicions there had indeed been something here. He began excavations. Days turned into nights, and Anton delved deeper into the earth, hoping to find even the slightest trace of the relic. The more he dug, the stronger the feeling grew that he was being watched. But he brushed off these thoughts, focusing on his work. Finally, after several weeks, Anton discovered something astonishing. Beneath a layer of earth and stones was an entrance to an underground chamber. He descended, holding a lantern that barely illuminated the way. Inside, it was cold and damp, and the walls were covered in strange symbols. These symbols resembled ancient scripts he had seen only in books about forgotten civilizations. Anton continued down the narrow corridor until he came upon a massive wooden door. The door was carved with the same symbols as the walls, and it seemed to guard something important. Summoning his courage, Anton opened the door and found himself in a vast hall, illuminated only by the faint light of his lantern. In the center of the hall stood an altar, on which lay a massive stone cube covered in carvings. This cube was the relic Anton had been seeking. But as he approached, he felt something strange. It seemed that there was something else in the hall, invisible but palpable, as if a shadow was watching his every move. At that moment, the door behind him slammed shut with a loud thud, and the hall plunged into complete darkness. Anton realized he was not alone. Footsteps began to echo in the hall, although no one was visible. Suddenly, he felt a cold wind that seemed to emanate from the relic itself. The footsteps grew closer, and Anton felt fear overtaking him. His hands trembled, but he knew he couldn't turn back. He had to uncover the truth. Suddenly, the footsteps ceased, and the hall was enveloped in an eerie silence. Anton decided to touch the relic, but as soon as his fingers brushed the stone, the world around him changed. He found himself in another place, a vast, dark void where there was nothing but endless darkness and a chilling sound that resembled a whisper. The whisper came from everywhere. It was unintelligible, but Anton felt it meant something. Suddenly, faces appeared in the darkness, the faces of monks, the very ones who had once guarded the relic. Their eyes were full of horror, and they seemed to be trying to say something to Anton. But he couldn't understand what they were saying, and the whisper grew louder. Anton began to lose his grip on reality. He didn't know where he was or why this was happening. He tried to escape, but the darkness surrounded him on all sides. Suddenly, one of the faces approached him and whispered, "Leave us in peace, and we will let you go." Anton realized that the relic was not just an object. It contained the souls of those who had been trapped by it. Souls that could not find peace due to the power contained within the stone. He had to choose either stay here forever or leave the relic and go. Gathering all his strength, Anton broke free from this nightmare. He awoke in the hall, drenched in cold sweat, and realized he needed to leave immediately. The relic remained on the altar, and he knew he would never return here again. Anton left the underground chamber and returned to the village. He decided that he would tell no one what he had seen and left this place forever. But the mystery of the Silent Hills remained unsolved. It continued to lure those who sought answers, but few returned to tell their story.